What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching our Making a Homestead mini-series. As you know, no homestead would be complete without a garden. And on today's episode, we're gonna show you how we made this 50 by 50 perennial garden right here, right now on In Tandem. So we're out here at the homestead and we're planning out a garden for the clients, a perennial type gardens, things that come back every year, like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, rhubarb, herbs, as well as a pumpkin patch, asparagus, and fruit trees. And then some other interesting things that we could throw in there year after year. So right now we're just gonna take and kind of lay out the general area that's gonna be fenced in to keep the animals out from chewing down all the raspberries and the strawberries and eating the pumpkins off. Gonna flag that portion of it out to see what we need to do as far as tilling up the soil to know where the garden goes.
I'm kind of seeing our fencing coming off maybe the corners and running like this. So we go out, just straight out. And this is where I'll need your input as far as what you're thinking.
No, that sounds good.
Garden fencing, keeping the chickens out of the garden, as well as additional fencing to keep the chickens
Correct.
in their respected area. So if we come straight out and we just do a big box.
Yeah, that's it. All right, we've got it all rototilled and prepped. So we didn't use any Roundup or any chemicals to kill it off. We simply just rototilled. We mowed it as short as we could. And then, it's pretty windy here today, but we rototilled it and now we're going to blanket everything with weed fabric to actually block it from the sun and then work as a preventative going forward, give us ease of access so that we don't have any weeds in the garden, and we'll mulch bed it to make everything kind of low maintenance. So we moved the garden shack. It was over here outside of where the garden was gonna be. So this was previously the old two-holer. Go in here, sit next to your buddy, take care of business, you know. But now we're gonna put some tools in there. Shovels, rakes, hose, if you will. And then we'll be able to tend to the garden and it'll be inside the fence. So we are working on the blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, kind of just a mix of everything. We'll have easy maintenance ones like pumpkins and watermelons, something you wait till fall, you just kind of keep it maintained. But the rest of this will be a perennial garden, have things that come back every year and just stay healthy and they go dormant in the wintertime. So what we did is we tilled up the garden here. We chose to do no herbicide application, so no glyphosate, no Roundup. Just tilled up the weeds and blanket them in commercial weed fabric, and that'll block them from the sun and kill everything off and give us a long-term, low-maintenance solution for maintaining the garden by putting some drip tape in where the plants are underneath the fabric so you don't have that evaporation of the water, as well as being able to put mulch down and really just keep the weeds completely suppressed in the garden and not have to ever worry about it. After getting the plants in the ground, our weed barrier down, and the mulch on, we had our friends at K&J Fencing stop by and get the garden fence installed. It's been about 6 weeks since we planted the perennial garden. Really excited to share all the really cool plants that we've got growing up. Let's go take a look inside and see how everything's doing. When you enter the garden, one of the first things you notice is our blue crop blueberries here. We've got 8 blue crop blueberries, and we're gonna plant pollinators, the Patriot variety, in the center of each of these. So we'll have, you know, hopefully in 3 or 4 years, we'll have a good, we'll have a good blueberry crop here. Another thing you notice is that we've got these irrigation lines. So this is a drip line with 2 nozzles on it. We bury these at the foot of each blueberries. Aaron, you gotta keep him under wraps, man. So the blueberries actually require you to put peat moss inside of them. They live in an acidic type environment. The wood chips certainly don't hurt that. They don't help as much, so we buried a 50%, I don't know what to do with him, a 50% peat moss to dirt ratio underneath these blueberries to give them the acidic environment in which they desire to be able to produce. You know, you gotta be patient with them. So we're looking at, these blueberries are probably about a year old from bare root. So we're, 3 more years we'll have a good producing crop of blueberries with the pollinator species in between. Next thing we have right here would be ever-bearing strawberries. So as you can see, they're still blooming. Currently, it is almost September here in Wisconsin, so they're constantly putting out more berries and blooms. Another thing you notice here, we've got the drip line. This just disperses water along the whole drip instead of at just specific spots. And we currently have the mulch pulled back to let the strawberries expand a little bit. We put the mulch and the weed fabric down to give the strawberries a fighting chance, and as they start to bush up and get stronger, then we can take weed fabric away and let them expand and not the weeds. Next here we have June bearing strawberries, and these are a much more aggressive strawberry. So these have only been planted 4 to 6 weeks now, and they've got these runners everywhere, and we're actually focused on training the runners straight in line with this row, because we're going to do exactly what I talked about with the other strawberries. We'll pull back the mulch, cut down the weed fabric, and if we can zoom in on this one right here, if you look at this guy has been laying on top of the mulch and he puts down roots. And so this runner, wherever you place it, will root again, give you another strawberry plant, and then yet again another strawberry at the end of this. So if you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runners in these 2 plants here. So we'll take back the mulch in between, cut the weed fabric out, train all the runners to go in line with the plants, and we'll get a big, thick June bearing strawberry row. And these will bear really heavy fruit around June, and you'll be able to just come out here and pick pints full of strawberries. They also have the drip tape, so we have solid water down this row. Next we have fall bearing raspberries. Here's one right here. They are good. We chose the fall bearing because every year, when everything's kind of dying down, you'll be able to enjoy raspberries, which is kind of a treat. and they die off when it comes to frost. So these raspberries actually get trimmed down every year. We'll be able to take these right at the base, clip them off. In the new year, they start growing all their vegetation all summer long, and then they bear fruit in the fall. So these guys are actually just getting started. You get the blossoms, then you get the berries. We've got 10 of them here, or 12, and we're gonna get another 12 this year still. They're dual crop golden raspberries, so they'll bear in the spring and bear in the fall. We just can't trim them down all the way, and they'll be a bright yellow gold color, so I think that'll be a really good addition. Look at the size of this one here. This is a Josta berry, which is kind of a cross between a gooseberry and a currant. They're round berries. All of this has since grown pretty much since we planted it. So the woody stem's turning into this green. I imagine we'll have to trim this back every year, but it's a good supplement to the blueberries because like I said, those are long-term, this is short-term. Next year, we should be able to see a decent amount of fruit off of these. So. All right, let's head outside of the garden and I'll show you what we got going out there. So here we have a nectarine on the property. They're kind of small, but they're super sweet. I guess it's a Wisconsin nectarine. Honestly, I've never heard of them before here, but they do pretty well on the property. And as you can see, they bear a lot of fruit. So bearing these fruit trees in mind, we thought we would do a full orchard to elaborate on this. So let's go check out the orchard. So to my right here, we've got a Cortland, we've got a McIntosh. To the left, we've got a Wine Crisp and a Snow Sweet. Up here, we have two different types of pear. This is a red pear, this is a Summer Crisp, a normal green pear. Another nectarine tree there. And then close to that, oh, he's got quite a bit of bugs. Been trying to keep them off. Bad Japanese beetles, man. They eat all these trees up. So we've got two different types of plum trees. And then right here, we have two different types of cherries. We have a sweet cherry and a pie cherry. And as you can see here, these Japanese beetles get on here and they'll completely defoliate the whole tree. So actually we're getting netting for these scent because we don't want to do any pesticides. It takes them a little bit to get established on the plants. So every single day I come out here a couple times a day and shake them off until we get the netting. So unfortunately, it's just something we have to deal with now. Moving right along, we can see on our left here, we have an asparagus patch. Slightly overgrown, but it still produces good asparagus every year. It's pretty well established. So we're just gonna continue to weed it, and we should have asparagus for years to come. We wanted to plant a pumpkin patch as well as have a little bit of zucchini and other things coming from the garden. So, oh wow, look at that right there. Pumpkins are coming on strong. There's a guy right there. I think we've got quite a few, honestly. Right here. Okay. Wonder if we've got anything to pick in the garden. Oh, there's another pumpkin. So it looks like we should be able to have some nice carving pumpkins for the fall. And then, oh wow, the summer squash and the zucchini really took off over the weekend. So let's do a little harvest here. We planted summer squash. It's just a nice thing to give away to anybody who helps out on the property. They're plentiful. So every day there's more coming on to these plants. Every day we give some more away. So another feature of the garden is we had K&J come in and do the fencing. They did the rest of the goat fencing. They did a great job. We did chicken wire 5 feet tall all the way around this, buried into the ground. We'll go check out the inside of the shed, which is now a garden shed. As I said, we picked the shed up and moved it. Got some tool storage racks, rakes, shovels, little fertilizer and irrigation tools. Made it a functional garden shed. And it looks like all the other buildings. As always, thank you for watching our Making a Homestead mini-series. We hope you were inspired by this episode, maybe to plant your own perennial berry garden. We've got a lot of interesting things to come, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing. I'm gonna go eat some more strawberries. Like a little candy, you can just take one and and then just plant one right away. So now we're gonna have another one right here.